All right. Hello, everyone. Hello, everybody. Hello. Welcome to Wealth on Wednesday webinars. Hi, everybody. I see folks still coming in. Very happy to see you. Hello. Good afternoon. It is a Wednesday, September 29th, the last of our Wealth on Wednesday webinars for the month of September. And as always, we have some exciting conversation for you. Hello, Tina Tanner. I'm so glad you're here. Definitely glad. And good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. We're just going to give it a few more minutes. Yes. Hello, Icy Deal. Good to see you as well. Welcome to our Wealth on Wednesday crowd. Good to see you all coming in. Hi, Miss Little. How are you? Good to see you. I see everybody coming in. So this is good. We're going to get started in about 1 minute. Hello. All right, Miss Beverly Cooper. Hi, how are you? Good afternoon. Welcome, everyone, to Wealth on Wednesdays. Hi, Story. Good to see you as well. Hello, everybody. All right. Let's get started. Okay. Good afternoon and welcome to our Wealth on Wednesdays in the Black webinar series. Today's topic is exciting. We're going to do a little bit of a D-Free Leadership Retreat recap for those of you who are not part of our Monday Night Live family and those of you who may have missed it. We just have a little bit of a recap for you, but then we're going to talk about a hot topic, which is disrupting the wealth gap. And so I'll dive into that a little bit more detail. But today's goal is to share some of the highlights of the 2021 D-Free Leadership Retreat. We had a wonderful opportunity to showcase successful partnership strategies and how they increase individual and organizational engagement in D-Free Online Academy, as well as the $1 Billion Challenge. And so the mission of D-Free Global Foundation is to close the wealth gap, one family at a time, which includes you and your family. And the purpose of this particular webinar is to educate and motivate everyone on the call to learn more about how D-Free is continuing to attack the wealth gap through the upcoming series, Disrupting the Wealth Gap. And so as we get ready to get started, as always, I have a couple of housekeeping tips. And so we'll get started with those as well. First and foremost, if you have any questions during this session, please feel free to type it in the Q&A feature. We'll do our best to address them. Otherwise, you can just raise your hand if you want to share your thoughts. We're adding this feature because we want it to be interactive. We want to hear from you even during the webinar. So if you'd like to join the conversation, please feel free to raise your hand. As always, our chat feature is open for you to engage and chat with one another. We want to know if you're here for the first time. Let us know that you're here for the first time. In addition to letting us know that you're here for the first time, if you're not here for the first time, then we want to know where you're from. So we want to start making some connections and some networking, and we want to know if we can visit a city near you. So please make sure you let us know where you are from. Last but not least, at the close of this webinar, there will be a short survey, and we ask that you please provide your feedback. We want to hear from you. That is our best way to serve you. We need to know what we can help you with, how we can be a better support. If you're interested in launching D-Free, or you want to share more about it. So please feel free to let us know by participating there. All righty. So in addition to just this wonderful, robust webinar that we have going, I just wanted to touch on a couple of things. The first and foremost, I know you all have heard about our goals here at D-Free. Our goal is to reach 4,000 families by the end of the year. We want to be able to have the impact with 4,000 families. And you all have played a major part in doing that, particularly those who participated in the retreat. And so we want to talk about that. I don't know who was able to come on. If you came to the retreat, can you let us know in the chat that you were there? If you missed it, don't worry, you still have an opportunity to see it. So please let us know if you were able to be a part of our retreat. I want to hear from you. All right. And by way of recap, we'll just share a little bit. we have a short testimony that we want to share with you.
Although I have spent a lot of time studying education, I didn't think about my finances, and thank God for D-Free. The first time through, I managed to actually eliminate my student loans, eliminate the credit card debt, and some other things that were kind of like hanging on. This year, picked up some new principles of raising my consciousness of what I'm doing with my money and how I'm spending, how I'm saving, how I'm accumulating. It's amazing to me that Dr. Soaries has actually enabled us to help ourselves for free. It's just unbelievable. I cannot think of any better thing you can do for yourself and for your family and for your family's future. All you have to do is enroll.
We love testimonies like that. So if that's you, please share your testimony. I'm going to check the chat one more time. Please share your testimony with us. We love to hear that. Not only does it help us as a team, but it also helps us to be able to share with our funders who we're impacting and how we're impacting them. We love sharing it because it also shows other people that if it can be done for you, then it can be done for them. And so we thank you for those of you who submit our testimonies. All right, I see in the chat that we have quite a few people. I want to say hello before we get into our retreat recap. Hello, Columbus, Georgia. Ms. Baker, good to see you. Hi, Portland, Oregon. Hello. And thank you to all of you who were there and who enjoyed the retreat. Again, oh, thank you, Ms. Henry. She said it was excellent. And so we're just going to do a quick recap and share with you who didn't see. Oh, hi, Carolyn Harris. Yes, great. Thank you very much. And she was able to attend as well. So we just want to share a real quick recap of some of the things that we were able to experience together. What we love about the retreat is that, first of all, it was free. So no charge to anybody. And so we want to make sure that you take advantage of the rewatch. So we talked about workplace utilization, how to use D-Free in the workplace. There was a wonderful conversation with RJW, Robert Wood Johnson, Barnabas Health. Very transformative. And when I say transformative, we talked about the correlation between health and stress and finances. And when I say a life-changing conversation, I think that was one of the most watched as well as the most appreciated portions of our time together. So please, if you get an opportunity, we want to encourage you to go back and to watch the rewatch. And I'll tell you how to do that shortly. We also had a conversation about corporate partnerships. Prudential is one of our title sponsors, and we've been working with them for about 10 years now. I think we're celebrating our 10-year anniversary. You'll hear more about that today as well. And so there was a nice, really good conversation that kind of, I guess it predicates the conversation we're going to have today. So make sure you jump in and you hear more about our partnership with Prudential. We also covered national organizations. This particular feature featured Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, which is one of our legacy partners. Deltas were really transparent and they shared about how D-Free has not only affected the sorority as a whole and how they implemented D-Free, but also how it affected individuals. And while we highlighted Delta Sigma Theta Sorority, it's a wonderful model to utilize for all of our national organizations. So if you're part of a national organization, this is the segment you want to watch. The reason why, if you're a member of the Links, if you're a member of the Masons, if you're a member of Jack and Jill Incorporated, Jack and Jill of America Incorporated, if you are a member of the Eastern Stars, if you're a member of the NAACP, any national organization, particularly one with chapters and regional affiliations, this is a great one for you to watch. Then we talked about how to utilize D-Free in faith-based collaborations. So this was really cool because we had a focus on churches and how a church actually implemented D-Free and how successful they are. And they had just started launching, I guess, the same weekend as the retreat. And we talked about how just the strategies, how they marketed, how they reached their members, how they found out that not only were they able to reach their membership, but even reach the community as a whole, and how people were drawn to the church because they were offering something that spoke to the whole person and not just the religious part and not just the church part, but also finances and just how they correlated. We spoke to denominations, some huge denominational partnerships. And the reason why that's important is because in denominations, there are different churches that can come together. And how can you reach the churches? And if it's an overall concept where you're touching the entire denomination, then individual churches can utilize D3 in their own way. And it could be a denominational initiative. So that was really good. We also talked a little bit about collaborations, how folks can get together in the same area and really speak to D3 and not just affect the churches, but affect the community as a whole. There was a great session about the Leaders Network, dealing with some of the leaders that we have. I think the other church was Friendship. I must have missed that on the slide, but definitely Leaders Network. We have some folks that have been leading D3 for quite some time. And so we were able to kind of do a deep dive with them and to find out how their successes, some of their challenges, how they overcame them, and how it can help you to be able to lead D3. And so that's a wonderful network, so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel, but you can have that conversation one-on-one and kind of discuss some of the things that you may face and really implement a plan and a strategy. Then we talked to local organizations. This was really cool. This one was really good because it talked about 2 different organizations in 2 different areas of the country, but doing the same work and using D3 to do it and to affect the people within their organizations and the communities in which they serve. Then, of course, I always talk about my favorite, D3 in Africa. It was wonderful to find out what D3 is doing in other countries. We were able to talk about South Africa and Ghana and to really find out how they're utilizing D3 there and even how D3 came to be. It was really exciting to hear and to know that D3 is truly global. You know, sometimes we think D3 and we think about our own area, but D3 is truly global. Now, I'm going to say this last session was something that I have gotten more emails and more conversations about. I think it was really refreshing. And this was the Buy Back the Block with Jegna. This was a session where a whole bunch of brothers got together and had a great conversation with our marketing manager, Jasmine Walton. And she had a really good conversation with them, just talking about how they moved from their past. You know, some of them had some difficult past to a really bright future. And even in dealing with their future, talking about how they were affecting their community and how they used the mistakes of the past to really empower folks in the future. And so that was a really good concept, only because it dealt with young men, you know, young people. And so we're always getting conversations about how do we help our young people? What do we share with our young people? How do we keep them from making the same mistakes that we made? This is a great session to share with your young people, as well as some of the things that we're going to talk about today. And so we had some highlights. If you want to watch the retreat, you can do it in the form of a rewatch. We have a couple of ways that you can do it. The first thing is you can watch the retreat as a whole. You know, it's the entire Saturday. We have it from start to finish, and you can go ahead and do that. I'm going to ask the team to drop the link in the chat so that you can go ahead and sign up and register so that you can see the retreat. The second way is to watch the retreat by segment. Now, I have to brag about this. I've been playing around this all morning. Okay, so if you want to watch the retreat by segment, not only is it broken down by segment, but as you scroll along the bottom, you can pick the particular topic that you want to zero in on. There are little highlights that says, if you want to talk about this, if you want to find out about that. And so I've been scrolling, going straight to topics, and it's great because you don't have to watch the entire segment. I do want to preface everything that every segment is around 20 minutes or so, with the exception of the Robert Wood Johnson one, which I told you was a really full conversation. I think that one's about 40 minutes, I think. But again, you don't feel like you're there for 40 minutes. In fact, the whole retreat doesn't feel like you're there because it's so much information and you're grabbing so many nuggets. But the segment one is really good because you can zero in on the subject of the segment that speaks to you. And last but not least, we also have one sheets. The one sheets are attached to the leadership retreat as well as the segments. Now, the one sheets are great because that's your takeaway. That's how you implement what you just saw. That's how you get to who to contact, what to do, and how to make sure that you put this thing into action. A lot of times we hear stuff and we get excited, we get motivated, but we don't know what the next steps are. That's where your one sheets come in. So make sure you download those. They are downloadable and you can take them and share them with others. So make sure you watch the retreat, rewatch, and thank you for putting that in the chat. Whew, this is one of my favorite parts. So with the retreat, we also had a contest. We had a major contest. We were getting really excited about folks participating. We want to give $500 to the person with the most academy registrants. That's the D3 Online Academy space, which can be found at myd3.org. That link will also be in the chat, myd3.org. And that's where you can sign on and learn more about D3. You can take our 12-step classes. You can take leadership training. And so we wanted to give $500 to the person who could register the most people in the academy. We also intended to give $250 to the person who signs up the most people to the BDC. Now, you guys are familiar with BDC. That's our $1 billion pay down, which is the $1 billion challenge, but it's www.billiondollarpaydown.com. That link will also be in the chat. We're excited about that because we have a great announcement to tell you later on today about BDC. But yes, and so we wanted to give out $250 to the person that was able to register or sign up the most people to BDC. And we also intended to give out $100 to the person who brought the most registrants to the retreat. Now, we were able to give our $100 prize. However, the $500 and the $250, those contests are still open. They're still open because we can still register people in the academy. We can still invite people to BDC. So make sure if you're interested and you already have an audience and you have some folks you're reaching out to, you could be the lucky winner of $500 or $250. And so we want to encourage you to do that. So make sure you grab that link in the chat. But I did want to share with you our winners. If you were part of our Monday Night Live family, this won't be a surprise to you, but we wanted to let everybody know how people are sharing D-Free and how effective they are at sharing D-Free. And so our winner for the most retreat attendees is, can anybody do a virtual drum roll? Pastor Debbie Bruce. Pastor Debbie Bruce is out of South Africa, and it was amazing because she invited 41 people. She had 41 people register for the retreat. She had 9 attendees, and we shout them out as well because sometimes we send the invite and then people are not able to come, and be a part of the actual presentation, but 9 people showed up. However, all the rest still have access to the retreat just because they registered, so they will be able to see it on the rewatch. So congratulations to Pastor Debbie Bruce. She's usually on here with us on Wednesdays, and so we want to congratulate you on your prize, and thank you so much for your support of D-Free Global Foundation Incorporated, not just the work you do in South Africa, but especially participating in the retreat. We really, really appreciate the support, and it was nice to see you on and participate with us. Now, we can't ignore all the rest because we had some folks that really set out to do some lofty goals and they met them. And so we want to do some honorable mentions while we have you. With 35 registrants, we want to shout out Danielle Nelson. We were able to connect with her on Monday night, so congratulations to her for registering 35 people. And then coming up with 25 registrants, Miss Royetta Fulgham. Now, you guys have heard from Miss Royetta because she participates with us on Wednesdays, and you can often find her in the chat. So we want to congratulate her as well. And we would be remiss if we didn't mention the next couple of people as well. With 11 registrants, we had Miss Cynthia Zellers, and so we thank you, Miss Cynthia, for your support as well. With 16 registrants, Miss Karen Cooperwood of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. I think Royetta is a Delta as well, so we want to shout out Delta Sigma Theta. And with 17 registrants, and I know she's on the line, Miss Tina Tanner, and we thank you for your support of your church, and everybody up in Rome, New York, and upstate New York. Thank you so much, Miss Tina Tanner. So we wanted to make sure that we shared those with you and let you know that we do celebrate big victories, little victories, and every victory in between. And we thank you so much for your support. Again, I just want to remind everyone that the contest is still open. So if you are interested in sharing the D-Free Online Academy with anyone, please make sure that you look in the chat and that you go ahead and grab that link and you share it with some folks. And then again, the BDC, which is our $1 billion challenge. If you want to register some folks for the $1 billion challenge, $250 prize for that. And you can check online, in the chat for the retreat. I'm sorry, for the link. Now, the moment we've all been waiting for, because I see my special guest has come into the room. We want to talk about what's coming up this Saturday. Disrupting the wealth gap. First of all, the name in and of itself has my attention. Disrupting the wealth gap. Every Saturday in October from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., we are going to be disrupting the wealth gap. What does that look like? I'm going to show you a brief video, and then we're going to talk about what it looks like to disrupt the wealth gap. So it's a 5-week virtual series that will examine the wealth gap and where we are today and provide practical tips and strategies to avoid debt, get out of it, and to build wealth. Let's take a look.
are changing the way traditional financial literacy is taught and the way economic empowerment for Black people is sought.
Now, I hope everybody saw that register for free. Register for free. As with all things D-Free, we always want to make sure that we allow those things to be available to you for free. And so we'll put that link in the chat as well so that you can register. But to find out more about what disrupting the wealth gap looks like, I'd like to invite our guest on, Ms. Brittany Smallwood.
Hi, good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon. It's always good to see you. Let me just do my little brief. Now, Brittany's not big on introductions, but I'm gonna go ahead and introduce her real quick. You guys may see Brittany often because she is always with us at the end of the month with our Ask the Experts webinar. And so she may be familiar from there, but Brittany also serves as the Director of Communications as well as Marketing for CCCI. She is new to the team, she keeps saying, but Brittany's been around for a long time. And so she has a heart for D-Free, she has a heart for people, and she does it in the most magnificent way. And so Brittany's here today to kind of enlighten us on what to expect with this October series. Brittany, it looks so good. That was such a teaser. Can you please tell us what to expect? Talk to us about this lineup for October.
I am really excited. It turned out really nice. The individuals who said yes and said that they were willing to participate and really try to help others throughout their time and also with their knowledge. So the first segment talks about the D-Free and Prudential 10th anniversary. So we examine the partnership between D-Free and Prudential, and then what has really been a strength of the partnership throughout the years and kind of what it looks like going forward. And then after that, we have Kristen McIntosh. She is the managing director of Hamilton Place Strategies, which is part of the Brookings Institution. And she's going to describe her research on how the wealth gap was created and how, due to COVID-19, as you saw in that video, how it exacerbated the wealth gap. Then after that, we're going to have Dana Peterson. She is the chief economist from the Conference Board. And Dana is going to discuss how we can close the racial wealth gap. So she discusses what the government can do, what nonprofits can do, what firms and individuals can do. And then she also really describes how, if it does ultimately close, what it will do for the national GDP and how it will really help the economy in the US as a whole, which is really nice to see as well. And then to round it out, we have Dr. Soares and Michelle Singletary from the Washington Post, and they dive deeper into what people can do. And they really provide a unique perspective on how we can all work individually to try to close the wealth gap, not only for ourselves, but our families. And then ultimately it'll trickle out into our community. So it's really nice. So that's the first of 5 segments for the October series.
So let me get this straight. All of that in the first segment.
That's one segment.
That's amazing. It's amazing because we've been talking about this wealth gap, and I know that people are a little, it seems elusive. It seems like unachievable. It seems, so big. And I thank God that you guys have an opportunity to kind of break it down in a way that people can digest it. And I love that we can do it all for free just by registering. Now,
yeah, I'm so grateful for that. Go ahead. What were you saying?
I was going to say, so just real quick, just something logistically, because we're dropping in the link in the chat. When we register for the one class, is it registration for throughout, or do we have to register individually each time?
Good question. So you can register for one, and then what I'm going to do on the back end is make sure that everyone has access to all of them. So if you register for one, you are all set.
Excellent, excellent. Because I want to know about session 2, because I know that you have, it sounds like there's something in the conversation for everyone. And I guess my question is this: as we're talking about this wealth gap, do you think that this segment or this series is a good next step for anybody who attended the retreat? And if so, why do you think that will be helpful to start to watch this series?
Absolutely. So people who attended the retreat found out wonderful ways in order to incorporate D-Free, whether it's into their church community, whether it's into their business, or whether it's even a partnership that they have. And so this really is taking the next step about what you can do with your family. So if you have a young teen at home, or if you have someone in college, they can attend. I would really recommend part 2 for them. So part 2 is talking about how to calculate the life you want. The goal is for young people to be able to look at what is it that they want in life, the car, the house, the discretionary income, and then the career that they want. And then is it even feasible? And if it's not feasible, what things should they be doing in order to achieve the lifestyle they want? Because we all know people who've said, I've said it even myself, I wish I would have known that before I did X, Y, and Z.
Right.
Like for me specifically with student loan debt, I'm like, man, if I had realized like the length of time that it was going to take you on the back end to pay it off, I would have done other things in order to get my way through school. So my goal was, knowing how I feel, I was like, I just want these young people to be armed with the information that they need so that they can make wise decisions as they go forward in life, so that they can say, I was fully equipped or fully prepared. And then if they still have questions, they can go find out themselves. Because I know so often talking about finances may be daunting, not knowing who to talk to about your finances may be daunting, thinking I don't have enough money in my account to even talk to someone about finances. And really in that segment, the advisors tell these students that we have, one's in high school and one's in college, and they tell them, listen, even in high school, you can start investing in stocks. Even in high school, you can go talk to a financial advisor. They're like, get your finances in order as early as you can, so it's not difficult and daunting later on.
I'm so glad that you mentioned it, because inevitably we get, just every single webinar. Do you have anything for young people? How do I introduce finances to my young person? I have young people in my church, or I want to introduce my son and daughter, and we hear it often. And so I'm glad that you have taken the time not only to recognize the fact that there's a need, but to also kind of build on that and to have a deep conversation. I was going to ask you the age range, because it sounds like you have a little bit of both. So what would you say? You said high school, I think, and what was the other age range?
Yeah, I would say high school, and even in college for that one. Or even, the individual who's, starting out in life and they feel like they're really trying to figure out a way to pay off their student loans or try to create a goal to buy a house. Really, they could watch that segment. And then I also think that they could watch the segment number 4. We really have so much for so many. Segment 4, I'm going to jump ahead. I'm going to pass 3 real quick. It is for individuals who are trying to create short and long-term financial goals. Because we all know in life, when you're like, I want that house or I want that car, sometimes it feels like such a large task to accomplish and to really get, like when someone says, well, you can get that car and you don't have to have a loan. You're like, wait a minute, I don't have to have a loan? Well, how do I achieve that? So the goal of segment 4 is to help people identify what their goals are and figure out a way to get there. And then if you feel like, you're in the middle and you're annoyed by the goal and you're like, man, I'm never going to get there, the goal is also to provide you with inspiration to let you know you can do it.
Oh, see, this is good. This is rich. I know that we had a pre-interview and I had an opportunity to kind of have some conversation with you. But one of the things that came up out of the conversation was the fact that we both recognize that there are some people who have their back against the wall right now. There are some people that have an immediate need. COVID affected all of us, whether it's, having a dip in your 401k or unemployment or what have you. And so, a lot of times we see all these webinars and things, and they all talk about people with money. What happens, I guess in the series, do you have something that really speaks to folks who are just at their wits' end, in trouble, we need help?
Yes, we do. That is part 3. So part 3 is called How to Get Financially Unstuck. And I was thinking about the people who just feel overwhelmed by their finances and their financial situation, and they're tired of the bills that are coming in, or they're tired of looking at their financial statement and thinking they want to be farther than where they really are. And so this one is to provide people with really tangible resources that they can use today to help them. So we have people from the D-Free Foundation, the D-Free Global Foundation, and they provide information about the D-Free Academy and how everyone can start that program really the moment they begin to hear about it, if they say, I want to do it right now, they can. And then there's also an individual from an organization that will help people with debt management counseling, mortgage counseling before you get the house. And then even afterwards, say someone's finding themselves struggling to make payments, they will also work with you to figure out a way to make payments and adjust your payments. Say someone is struggling with student loan debt, there's an organization that we have on that segment. They're willing to take people and help them out through that. If someone realizes they need more skills in order to get a higher paying job, we have a great organization on that segment, and they're going to teach people about an organization that will give people free education, whether they want to like do technology, IT, you get free education, free certification, a free exam, and they also give you the technology in order to do it. I love it. I really like this segment because I'm like, I know that there are people who just, they're at their wit's end and they just need some love and some help. And so that is the goal with that segment.
Oh my goodness. I got to kind of pause right there. Free tuition, free training, free certification, and the technology to be able to put those things and implement them. How does a program like that exist? Did they even talk about how they came to be and who they want to reach? And is it accessible to everyone?
It is. People can apply for it. They have an office in Newark, and then they also have offices throughout the country. So that is really nice. So we talk about the fact that really anybody can do it. The woman who's the managing director of Newark, she was our guest, and she said, really, the only thing you pay with is your time. And she was like, you're just going to have to put in the time and the effort to do it. She's like, you can apply, it's free, but you have to put in the work in order to get it. And I said, that's fair.
And it's so funny that I had to double back. Now I'm feeling like some of the people that hear about D-Free, when we say that, D-Free exists and it's free and we don't charge you and all this stuff. I know people are like, what's the catch? And so I sound like that when I'm asking about that program. So forgive me. I'm excited to hear about it. I was listening to what you were sharing, and I know we have a lot more to go because we have quite a few Saturdays in October. But one of the things you also mentioned was that a series like this can benefit the individual. And when we were talking, you mentioned some real life scenarios. Can you just unpack that a little bit, what that looks like for us as viewers, people that are going to be participating in October, what real life scenarios look like?
Yeah. So I'll start with segment 2. So part 2 is talking about calculating the life you want. And we took literally 2 students. One is a student in high school, and his mother, he's living with his mother. His brother is in college, and he's so sweet. He said, my goal is just to be able to help my mom pay the bills. He's so sweet. And so he said, I just really want to have a career in finance. And it was so nice because he was able to talk to 2 people in finance. And so he described what his situation is like. He mentioned that he's really trying to go to college for free. And so they really walked him through what he needs to be doing in the short term and long term in order to have the life he wants. And then the college student we talked to, I love her. She told us she wanted to retire by like 40. So they told her, if you want to retire by 40, here's what you may have to do. They said, you may not retire by 40, but here's what you need to do if you're going to try to achieve that. And they mentioned to her that having multiple streams of income is really important in doing that. And what I liked about her segment is that she is in college studying to become either a nurse or a doctor. But her passion, in addition to medicine, is interior design. And so she was saying, even if she goes the medicinal path, she knows on the other side that she can also have another stream of income pursuing another passion. And so that was really nice, talking about how you can go to school for one thing, but you don't have to let your other passions die. So that was really nice. Another tangible explanation was during part 3 with the individuals from the different organizations. We have Green Path and Green Path, D-Free Global Foundation, and Perscalis. They mentioned what individuals can do in different situations. So we had someone who said, during the pandemic, they were tired of looking at their walls and seeing, the things in their home. And they said they started spending more. And what could they do to curb their spending and really get back on the path to financial freedom? And so we talked about what that person could do. And then what could someone do if they are trying to go get a home? What's the difference between the different type of loans? What else? If someone is trying to go back to school, but they don't have the money to go back to school, you know, they've got kids, what can they do? And then the last segment, which is part 5, we discuss what someone can do if they have a large inheritance and how can they maximize it and not squander that inheritance.
We are getting there. We are getting, we are getting. This is so good because you're right. There are real life scenarios. And a lot of times when we hear these talks, they're not interactive. And so we just hear this overall picture. And I love that you have real people that we did not pay that will come on and actually talk about their own situation and be transparent, because a lot of us will see ourselves in that, in those situations, like we do when we read Dr. Story's book, Say Yes to No Debt, and we see Claude and Grace, we can see ourselves in their lives. And so I'm loving that this thing is coming to life and that we're able to participate in it. Oliver Washington Jr. has a question and it says, good day, what is the name of the org offering free tuition, certification, exams, and technology? I'm not gonna let you tell because I'll have to register so that you can participate. No, I'm kidding. Register so that you can get the fullness of, this is just a tease. We wanna make sure that you come and register, but if you wanna share, it's up to you, Brittany. Do you wanna cliffhang them?
Sure, I can give you the information. The name of the organization is Perscholas. It is PERSCHOLAS. I believe it's perscholas.org.
All right, did you get that? You heard it first here at the Wednesday webinar. But we want to make sure that you register so you can get the fullness of the program and even a contact. So please make sure you register as well. I wanted to ask you this because I've heard you mention and drop a couple of names. In fact, people are shouting folks out in the chat. I see, hey, Janae Grant, my co-host in the chat, says that they love Michelle Singletary because she's from the DMV, which is DC, Maryland, Virginia area. So hello. But I know that in addition to Michelle Singletary, you dropped a couple of names. I know that you're also going to be dealing with some financial professionals, and generally folks would have to pay a fee, whether it's hourly or a contract, to have access to a financial professional. And it's my understanding that you're going to have financial professionals woven throughout the weekly presentations. I think you're going to have people. Can you just speak a little bit to that? I mean, I know, well, no, I'm not going to say what I know. You tell me.
Yes, we do. We have financial professionals who will be part of segments 2, 3, 4, and 5, and they will be providing their expertise. In segment 1, we have the Senior Vice President of Inclusive Solutions at Prudential, and she discusses the Prudential and D-Free partnership. But the nice thing is we have the expertise of the Prudential financial advisors and financial professionals during the other segments. And then afterwards, we will also provide people with an opportunity to fill out a form to gain access to the financial advisors. And then they'll reach out to them and they'll have a segment with them for free.
Excellent. That's what we want to hear. And I thank you so much for sharing that. Now, again, I'm going back to our let me tell you, you guys, I wish you could have ear hustled on our pre-interview. It was so much information and so good. And Brittany is so knowledgeable. So I just got really excited. But I jotted down a few notes. And one of them was that, did I hear you correctly when you mentioned that there may be a segment about building a business to get out of debt? Or did I mess that up? Okay.
Yeah, we have 2 individuals who, that's part of segment 4. We have 2 individuals, and I'm really excited about the whole thing. Honestly, I've watched individuals and gone through stuff myself, and I'm just so grateful for the opportunity to be working with you and to be working with Dr. Stories and the team to be able to try to help individuals, because I know how it feels. And you just need some assistance and you don't know who the right person is to talk to all the time. So I'm just so excited, honestly, about the whole series. So to answer your question, segment 4, that one is the one with the 2 business executives. So there is an individual who, thank you, Oliver. Oliver mentioned that he registered. Thank you. So there's a business executive part of segment 4. She had $100,000 in debt and then managed to pay it off and then wrote a book about it and then became a New York Times bestseller. Best-selling author. I said, what a way to turn your lemons into lemonade. I was like, wow. So I love that. So she's going to talk to us about how she recognized there was a problem, and then what she did in order to get her goal down of paying off $100,000 in credit card debt.
Oh,
And then the second individual is going to talk to us about creating a business. And I love that he talks about how you don't have to have much to get started. So many people have an idea and a dream, and they feel like it's still unachievable or unattainable. But he talks about how you don't even need much to start. And he himself didn't have much when he started. He said he had less than $1,000. His enterprises grew from one to another to another. And today he owns a multi-million-dollar company. And so I said, perfect. Thank you for sharing this information with all of us. And so he's going to describe what people at home can do, which really mirrors what he did with a group of friends. And I loved that segment. And so what he did is he used his first business to take the funds from that to pay off his student loan debt. Not even debt. He just exited college without anything, without having to pay for anything. I said, how nice. That's perfect.
Well, let me just say this. To me, it sounds like you got the best of the best to be able to teach us. And I just think that anybody would be crazy not to register for this, Disrupting the Wealth Gap. The reason why, because every single segment speaks to something or someone that you may know. And if we're going to change and close the wealth gap one family at a time, then we have to grab this knowledge for our families. And so thank you. Okay, wait, we've got a couple of people. Can you spell the name of the org again? And is this, are you talking about?
Here, I can even add it to the chat for you though.
Okay, great. Oh, and there's a question about the time. And so the time is 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I need someone to do a conversion for our folks in California and thank you. And our folks.
Yes, I see Lola. I do understand. Yeah, thank you, Lola, for letting me know that, in your area, it would be 7 to 8 a.m. So you know what, if you end up registering, what we'll make sure we do is give you information about the replay if you don't have time that day, because I totally understand on a Saturday, not wanting to watch at 7 a.m. I get it.
Thank you. So I wanted to circle back to the financial windfall segment, because I know that's coming up. So people seem to think that a financial windfall is like the answer to our debt problems. If I get all this money, I'll be able to just, pay off, everything I owe and blah, blah, blah. But is that honestly the case? I mean, do we find out more about that when you speak to windfalls and large sums of money and inheritance and all these things? Can you tell us a little bit about what that session impacts? Because I'm looking, are we talking about people that hit the lottery? I mean, what are we talking about when you come to that segment?
That one is fun too, because it's really about people who receive large sums in any manner. So whether you win the lottery or whether you win a legal case or a car case and you end up receiving a large amount of money, whether you get a large inheritance, however someone ends up receiving a large amount of money, the goal is really just to make sure they don't squander it and end up with nothing. When I was talking to the Prudential financial professional who is going to do this segment, we were discussing that there are examples of individuals who've received millions, and then they end up, unfortunately, with not much in the end, not a home for it, not a car for it, and the money's just gone. And so the goal is to set people up so that they can build off of the money that they receive, so that they can build a legacy for themselves or their family members. And so the goal is to really help individuals create really a plan for their money, to be intentional about their spending.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And I'm so glad that we're diving in. Ms. Baker, we do see your comment, and you can only see. Okay. So if there is we don't have any questions in the Q&A portion of the chat. What I'm responding to is mostly questions that I had in order to kind of build out the conversation. But if there's a question in the actual chat, we'll go ahead and ask the question so that Brittany can respond. And so we'll open up, I guess, at this time, if anybody does have any Q&A, please let us know. If you have a question, we'd be happy to answer them. So thank you for bringing that to our attention, Ms. Baker. But yes, nothing in the Q&A right now. It seems like Brittany, like I said, she's such a wonderful resource. She's given us everything we need, and that all the rest of it you got to get when you register. And so we're gonna put that registration back in the chat again to make sure everybody knows to register for the Disrupting the Wealth Gap series. That's what we want, Disrupting the Wealth Gap series. Let me ask another question. Having sat and interviewed and shared with so many people and so much information. Do you have any like last takeaways or something that was really impactful that you want to share, to our crowd today that, just something like was like an aha moment for you?
There was so much, honestly. I feel like I learned something from each segment, to be very honest. I left, whoever in the chat said Michelle Singletary. Let me tell you, I love Michelle Singletary. She did so good. Because you know how you mentioned earlier, sometimes when you look at the wealth gap, it can feel daunting and it can feel like a lot. And Michelle was just so inspirational. And she just wanted everyone to know and wants everyone to know, because I made sure we got her interview earlier. She just described not being ashamed of any of the numbers, not being discouraged by the numbers, but feeling empowered about where we are today and knowing that we have all done so much to get to where we are today and that we can continue to build on the successes that we currently have to constantly make improvements for not only ourselves, our families, but our communities going forward. And I just left so empowered after that. I loved it. She did such a great job. And then in the segment number 2, with the individuals who were young, I loved learning that they can start this process when they're young. And because I just really don't want young people, if we have the opportunity to tell young people before they get that student loan or before they get that car loan, let's talk to them about what it's going to take on the back end to pay it off. Mm-hmm. And if we can stop them in the beginning from making those decisions that will last them decades, I was like, let's do it. And it was just so beautiful to watch the financial advisors talk to these 2 students. I almost get tearful talking about it because I just was so excited and so grateful, because that is my goal, is to be able to help somebody so that they don't have to walk into the same decisions that I made, that I'm still paying for decades later. And I loved that segment. And then the segment with the individuals for segment number 3 about the resources that are available. I just loved listening to Tamika, to Greg, is it Greg? No, Bill, and the other lady, Latoya, talk about just the resources that they have, and just to listen to what is available for individuals, regardless of where they are. And then I think really the tidbit that I learned in segment number 4, which is with the 2 business executives, was one of the experts told me, if you have a credit card loan and say you have high interest and you're thinking to yourself that this needs to come down, when she was trying to pay off her debt, called the credit card companies, told them, hey, I got this offer for another credit card, but they were offering me a better rate. What can you do? And she said they often minimized it and got it down to whatever that other company offered. And she was able to pay it off really quickly because of that. And then the other business executive talked about the power of working together. And it was just so beautiful listening to his examples. So honestly, I can say I have left inspired after every segment, because the individuals are just amazing. And I'm so grateful that they all took time to really be with us.
Well, I have to say, Mrs. Brittany Smallwood, you have inspired us. You've inspired us not just to register for the Disrupting the Wealth Gap series, but to really invest in ourselves. It was very encouraging to hear more about it, because D-Free is always offering content, and we're always offering things, and sometimes when you just see a title, you don't know what it means. And so today, the way that you unpacked everything, I think was so effective, inspiring. I'm encouraged. I want to be a part of it. I'll get up on a Saturday with my coffee and pay attention and just grab all the nuggets I can. And like I said, it speaks to the total person, but outside of speaking to the total person, it speaks to the total family. Like, there was not one stone unturned. And so we thank you so much for your work, for your efforts, for your interviews, for your professionalism. We're getting excited. I can see in the chat that folks are getting excited. And so we're really, really, really happy to hear more about it. And so thank you to everyone who is here today. Thank you, Brittany. Thank you to all of the folks that participated. We're happy and we're getting excited. So make sure you register if you haven't already. Brittany, you just want to stay on for a few minutes with me as we go ahead and share some great news about the $1 Billion Challenge because we're coming up on our time. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Again, we put the registration in the chat. Make sure you register. We want to see you register today. We want to see you register so you can get that rewatch and you can participate. And so we want to make sure. So everyone can make sure. All right, let's go so we can see some of these exciting things we have as we get ready to wrap up. All right, just a reminder, every Saturday in October. Oh, wait.
Hello, everyone. It's Kiara Shear Kelly. And listen, anything D-Free, I'm down for because they challenge us to get on our A game when it comes to being in our bag, getting our finances together. And listen, you get to sleep a little better when you know your money is right. So shout out to D-Free, Dr. Sori's. I am a complete fan and I cannot wait. I can't wait to get back together again and make what we did before happen. So y'all need to stay tuned. Make sure you stay connected and get this money right, okay? Love y'all.
Yes, so when you go ahead and check out the rewatch, you get to see some surprise entertainment. So we want to encourage you to see that. Just like Ms. Kiara Shear shared, all things D-Free are all good, including, boom, drum roll. We have crossed the $32 million mark in our $1 billion challenge. That's right, 32 million 100. What's that? 1,061. That's blocked. $1,610. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Debt paid off to debt. We are so happy about that. Thank you to everyone who contributed and paid off debt. We have crossed the $32 million mark and we are happy about it. Just on Monday night, we were about $4,000 shy. So some of you went in and paid off some debts. And so thank you. And if you're not yet registered for the $1 billion pay down, for the $1 billion challenge, we invite you to do so today. You can do it individually. You can have your whole family register. You can have your book club. You can have your sorority, your fraternity, any group that you're part of, anybody you want to see pay down some debt or even accumulate savings. We believe that $1 billion worth of debt will be paid down in the Black and Brown community. In addition to that, we believe that $1 billion worth of savings can be achieved in the Black and Brown community. But in order to do that, we need you. So please make sure, and don't forget, we have a contest. So sign up, register some folks, get involved. It is strictly confidential. We don't need your account numbers. We don't even need to know. All we need to know is what type of account, what kind of debts you're paying down, not your companies. We don't need your blood type. We don't need any DNA. It's a confidential, password protected account. And so we encourage you to sign up if you have not already. It is a wonderful, wonderful tool full of resources to be able to help you to achieve your financial goals. And we've been talking about this D-Free Online Academy. And here are two of our most popular programs. One is the 12 Steps to Financial Freedom, which is our lessons, is the 12 steps of the D-Free online curriculum. Right there, 12 steps, self-paced. You can do it, you take 12 months, 12 weeks, you can take 12 days. It is up to you. We have several ways of being able to learn the course and be a part of the course and get the knowledge, and you can share with other people, and you can register there at mydfree.org, and that's for our D-Free Online Academy. However, there's another program that's super popular, and that's our Leaders Training course. Our Leaders Training course is phenomenal. It's a 3-part course that amounts to about 3 hours, and at the end of the 3 hours or the 3 parts, you will be certified as a D-Free trainer to be able to share D-Free with others. But not only that, but it unlocks a wonderful opportunity to use our facilitators course, as well as our facilitators guide. All those things are available to you. And so we want to make sure that we unlock those things for you. And so if you're interested in sharing D-Free with others or learning more about D-Free, we encourage you to visit the D-Free Online Academy. Again, you can register today at mydfree.org. You have your own account. You can download and enroll in courses that you like. And go ahead and pay. We have the Divine 9 course housed in there. Everything is self-paced. We've got different ways of learning. You can learn it by level. You can learn it by step. Up to you. We tried to make it as accommodating and user-friendly as possible. And so go ahead, do that deep dive and sign up today. And as always, if you have any questions about today's webinar, any of our other digital spaces, all things D-Free, interested in launching, interested in sharing, we invite you and encourage you to contact us at info@mydfree.org. Our telephone number is 844.mydfree. That's 693-3733. We also encourage you to join our private Facebook page. Our private Facebook page is D-Free Training and Engagement. We want you to come on and we'll start chatting more about some of the things that are available to you hot off the presses. We try to let everybody know things a little in advance right there on our website. And so we want to encourage you to come on to that private D-Free training and engagement page. In addition to that, we share best practices and we talk to one another. And so we want to encourage you to go ahead and sign up there. And I want to bring your attention to our new website, www.dfreefoundation.org. Go ahead and lock it in right now. Put it in your shortcuts. This is where all things D-Free are housed. So if you want to find out anything about the foundation, it is new, it's improved. Again, very user-friendly, an easy way to navigate. All your questions will be answered there. Last but not least, we want to encourage you to see you this Saturday. So please make sure you're there this Saturday. Again, all of the links that we mentioned, they're all in the chat. And so we want to make sure that you grab those things from the chat. As always, we want to be D-Free with our time as well as our money. And so we thank you so much for joining today's webinar. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Same time, same station, as we celebrate another Wednesday webinar. Thank you so much, everyone. Look forward to seeing you on Saturday. God bless you and have a great week.